My name is Alan Foster, and I'm about to tell you the most insane story you'll ever hear. How a routine insurance quote revealed my wife's secret double life and led to the complete destruction of everything I thought I knew about love, trust, and the woman I'd shared my life with for 7 years. It started on an unseasonably warm Tuesday morning in March. I remember every detail of that day because it was the day my entire world shattered. The windows in my home office were open, letting in the fresh spring air that carried the scent of our neighbor's freshly cut grass. I was working on quarterly projections for my accounting firm, completely absorbed in spreadsheets and tax codes, when my phone rang. State Farm Insurance, this is Jennifer. May I speak with Alan Foster? Speaking, I said, minimizing my Excel file and reaching for the notepad I always kept by my computer. Mr. Foster, I'm calling about the bundled home and auto insurance quote you requested last week. I have some competitive rates to share with you, but I'll need to gather some additional information first. Rachel and I had been looking for ways to trim our budget. 5 years of marriage had taught us that financial planning was crucial, especially with her student loans from law school and our mortgage on the 4-bedroom colonial we'd bought 3 years ago. Every dollar saved was a dollar toward our future. The kids we planned to have, the vacations we dreamed about, the retirement we were already planning for. That's great, I said, grabbing a pen. What do you need from me? I'll need driver's license numbers for both you and your wife for the DMV check. It's standard procedure, helps us provide the most accurate rates based on your driving records. I rattled off my license number from memory. I'd had it memorized since college. Hold on, let me get my wife's number. I called out toward the hallway. Rachel, what's your license number? Check my wallet. Her voice came from our bedroom. It's in my purse in the kitchen. I'm getting ready for book club. Ah, yes, Tuesday book club. For the past 2 years, Rachel had religiously attended a book club with her girlfriends. Every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp, she'd head out with whatever novel they were discussing tucked under her arm. I'd met a couple of the members, Sarah and Linda, at a Christmas party once. They seemed nice enough, though I'd always found it odd how rarely Rachel invited them over to our house. I padded down the hallway in my socks, past the gallery wall of our wedding photos that Rachel had meticulously arranged. There we were, frozen in time, her in that stunning lace gown that had cost a small fortune, me in the rented tux that made me feel like James Bond. Both of us grinning like idiots, convinced we'd figured out the secret to eternal happiness. Her purse sat on the kitchen counter next to our coffee maker, a fancy espresso machine she'd bought last year, insisting we needed to invest in our mornings. I found her wallet easily enough, the brown leather one I'd given her 3 Christmases ago. Inside, her driver's license was tucked behind a clear plastic window. I read the number to Jennifer, who typed it into her system with rapid-fire keystrokes. Perfect. Just give me one moment while I pull up your records. The typing continued for maybe 30 seconds. Then it stopped abruptly. Mr. Foster? Jennifer's voice had changed. The cheerful customer service tone was gone, replaced by something cautious. I'm seeing something unusual here. My stomach did that uncomfortable flip it does when you sense bad news coming, but don't know what form it'll take. Like when your boss says, "We need to talk," or when a doctor furrows their brow at test results. What kind of unusual? I asked, trying to keep my voice level. Well, I'm showing 2 active driver's licenses for your wife. Same photograph, same date of birth, but different names and addresses. The pen slipped from my fingers and clattered onto the hardwood floor. 2 licenses? That has to be a mistake. A system error or something. I'm looking at both records right now, Mr. Foster. One is under Rachel Foster at your current address, 1847 Maple Grove Lane. The other is under Rachel Brennan at 4782 Oak Grove Apartments, Unit 782, Brennan, her maiden name. the name she'd been so eager to change after our wedding. "I can't wait to be Rachel Foster," she'd said, filling out the paperwork at the DMV the week after our honeymoon. "I want everyone to know I'm your wife." My mouth felt like I'd been chewing cotton. When when was the second license issued? Let me check. The Brennan license was issued 13 months ago. Mr. Foster, I need to inform you that having two valid licenses under different names is considered fraud. I'll have to escalate this to my supervisor, but can you email me everything? My voice came out steadier than I felt, surprising me. Whatever you can share, I mean. I need to see this for myself. I can't share full DMV records due to privacy laws, but I can send you a summary of what I'm seeing for verification purposes. Should I continue with the insurance quote? The quote can wait. I was already walking back to my office, my bare feet silent on the floor. Can you tell me anything else about the second license? Anything at all? Jennifer hesitated. In that pause, I heard the sound of my marriage cracking like ice under weight. The Brennan license shows as the primary driver on a vehicle registration, a 2018 Honda Civic Silver. My blood turned to ice water. Rachel drove a 2018 Honda Civic, Silver. I'd helped her pick it out at the dealership, negotiated the price, co-signed the loan. It was registered to Rachel Foster. So why did she need it registered to Rachel Brennan too? Please send me whatever you can, I managed. I have to go. Mr. Foster, I'm so sorry. I know this must be... I hung up. Not to be rude, but because I thought I might throw up if I kept talking. Back in my office, I stared at my computer screen, the tax spreadsheets now seeming like documents from another life. A life where my biggest worry was maximizing deductions and meeting filing deadlines. A life where my wife was just my wife, not whatever this was. The email from Jennifer arrived 3 minutes later. My hands trembled as I opened it. There it was in black and white, a verification summary showing both licenses. Both addresses. Rachel Marie Foster and Rachel Marie Brennan. Same face staring back from both IDs. I printed 3 copies with mechanical precision. One went into my desk drawer, locked. One went into my briefcase. The third I folded and put in my pocket. Evidence. My friend Marcus, who worked in law enforcement, always said to document everything. You never know when you'll need a paper trail, he'd told me over beers once, talking about some case he was working. Had he suspected something even then? Had everyone seen something I'd missed? Rachel appeared in my office doorway, and I nearly jumped out of my skin. She looked beautiful, as always. Her dark hair was curled the way she did it for special occasions, not just thrown into the ponytail she wore around the house. She had on her nice jeans and the green cashmere sweater that brought out the hazel in her eyes. Did you find my license number? She asked, adjusting an earring. Yeah, all set. I forced my face into what I hoped was a normal expression. Big discussion planned for tonight? We're diving into the new James Patterson. She rolled her eyes playfully. You know how Sarah gets with her thriller novels. She'll probably have a whole conspiracy theory worked out about who the killer is. James Patterson. I made a mental note. Sounds fun. Don't let her spoil the ending for everyone else. She laughed, the sound that used to make my heart skip. Now it made my skin crawl. I'll try to keep her under control. Don't wait up. We might grab drinks after if everyone's into it. She crossed the room and kissed me goodbye. The same quick peck she'd given me thousands of times. Her lips felt foreign against mine, like a stranger wearing my wife's face. Love you, she said, already turning to leave. Love you too. The words came out on autopilot, muscle memory from 5 years of marriage. 20 minutes after her car pulled out of the driveway, I was on the phone with my boss. Ted, I have a family emergency. I need to take the rest of the day off. Maybe tomorrow too. Everything okay, Alan? Is Rachel all right? Oh, the irony. I don't know yet. I'll call you when I know more. I drove to my office downtown like a man possessed, running 2 yellow lights and probably breaking several traffic laws. I needed access to a printer and a scanner that wouldn't leave a digital trail on our home network. Paranoid? Maybe. But something told me I needed to be very careful about how I handled whatever was happening. The office was mostly empty, typical for a Tuesday afternoon. I locked myself in my private office and got to work. First, I made more copies of Jennifer's email. Then I started researching. Oak Grove Apartments, a nice complex on the other side of town, near the university. Their website showed modern units with luxury amenities and professional landscaping. The kind of place young professionals lived. Or apparently, the kind of place where wives maintained secret second lives. According to Google Maps, it was a 23-minute drive from our house, almost exactly the same distance as the library where Rachel's book club supposedly met. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Forgot to mention, if book club runs late, I might grab coffee with the girls after. Don't wait up! I stared at that heart emoji until it blurred. How many texts like this had I received over the past 2 years? How many Tuesday and Thursday nights had I spent alone, thinking my wife was discussing literature with her girlfriends? I typed back. No problem. Enjoy the Patterson novel. 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, thanks, babe. Love you. Those 2 words, love you, felt like a knife between my ribs. How could she type them so easily while living this double life? Was it reflex? Guilt? Some twisted way of maintaining her cover? I sat in my office for another hour, paralyzed by indecision. What was I supposed to do? Confront her? Hire a private investigator? Pretend I didn't know until I had more information? Finally, I made a decision. I was going to our house first, then to Oak Grove Apartments. I needed to know what I was dealing with before I decided anything else. The drive home felt surreal. The familiar streets looked different somehow, like a movie set where nothing was quite real. I parked in our driveway and sat there for a moment, looking at our house. The flower beds Rachel had planted last spring were starting to bloom. The front door still had the wreath she'd hung for Easter. Everything looked so normal, so perfect. Inside, I became a detective in my own home. I started in our bedroom, feeling like a criminal as I went through Rachel's things. Her jewelry box held nothing unusual. Her nightstand drawer had the normal collection of hair ties, hand cream, and the reading glasses she wore when her contacts bothered her. But then, I found her gym bag. It was in the back of our walk-in closet, tucked behind her winter boots. Normal gym bag, nothing special about it. Nike logo, purple and black, slightly worn. Inside were workout clothes, a water bottle, her iPod — she was the last person on earth who still used one for the gym — and shower supplies. But at the very bottom, wrapped in an old Ramones t-shirt she'd stolen from me years ago, was a small ring of keys. My heart hammered as I examined them. Our house key was there. I recognized the little paint chip on it from when we'd repainted the front door. Her car key with the Honda fob. The small key for her gym locker at Planet Fitness. And 2 keys I'd never seen before. No markings, no tags. One looked like an apartment key. The other was smaller, maybe for a mailbox. I photographed them from every angle, then carefully rewrapped them in the t-shirt and put everything back exactly as I'd found it. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped the bag twice. Back in my car, I called Marcus. Hey buddy, what's going on? His voice was cheerful, oblivious to the bomb I was about to drop. I need legal advice, hypothetically speaking. Oh. His tone shifted immediately. What kind of hypothetical are we talking about? If someone has two valid driver's licenses under different names, is that fraud? Silence. Then, Alan, what's going on? And don't say it's hypothetical. Just answer the question, Marcus. Please. He sighed. Yes, it's fraud. Identity document fraud, to be specific. Also, possibly identity theft, depending on the circumstances. Class D felony in our state. Why are you asking me this? I'll call you back. I hung up before he could protest. The drive to Oak Grove Apartments took exactly 23 minutes, just like Google predicted. The complex was even nicer than the photos suggested. Manicured lawns, a fountain at the entrance, the kind of place that probably had a gym and pool for residents. The gate was the first obstacle. Residents needed a code or a clicker to get in. I waited, engine idling, until a FedEx truck pulled up. The driver punched in a code. I watched carefully. 2580. The generic delivery code half these places used. The gate swung open, and I followed the truck inside. Building 4 was in the back corner of the complex, 3 stories of beige siding with small balconies for each unit. I parked where I could see Unit 782 second floor, end unit. The blinds were closed, but there were plants on the balcony. Healthy plants. Someone was taking care of them. I sat there for 30 minutes, watching. A few people came and went from other units, but 782 stayed quiet. No movement behind the blinds, no shadows passing by windows. Finally, I couldn't wait any longer. The keys felt like they weighed 50 pounds as I climbed the stairs. The stairwell smelled like someone's dinner cooking and the industrial carpet cleaner they all seemed to use. My footsteps echoed too loud, announcing my approach to anyone who might be listening. At the door of 782, I stopped, listened. No TV, no music, no footsteps from inside, no sounds of life at all. I knocked. 3 firm raps, waited. Knocked again. Nothing. The unmarked key trembled in my hand. This was it. The moment of no return. Once I used this key, I couldn't pretend I didn't know. Couldn't go back to the life I'd had this morning when my biggest concern was finding a better insurance rate. The key slid in smooth as silk, turned easier than our sticky front door lock at home. The apartment was beautiful. That was my first irrational thought. Hardwood floors, modern furniture, actual art on the walls. It looked like something from a magazine, carefully decorated, intentionally designed. Not thrown together like a secret hideaway, but crafted like a home. The entry table held mail and a bowl for keys. Women's shoes sat neatly on a rack by the door, size 7, same as Rachel. But there were men's shoes too. Running shoes, dress shoes, work boots, size 11 or 12 by the look of them. The living room made me stop breathing. A brown leather sectional faced a mounted flat-screen TV. Matching end tables held ceramic lamps that looked expensive. But it was the walls that killed me. Photos, dozens of them, all in matching frames, arranged with the same meticulous care Rachel had used for our wedding photo gallery at home. Rachel at a beach, laughing as a wave crashed behind her. Not any beach I'd been to with her. Rachel on a hiking trail making a goofy face at the camera. Mountains in the background I didn't recognize. Rachel at a restaurant, raising a wine glass and a toast. Wearing the red dress she'd bought for her company Christmas party that spouses weren't invited to. And in every photo, the same man. Tall, athletic build, dark hair with just a touch of gray at the temples. Handsome in that casual way that suggested he didn't know it, smiling like he was the luckiest man alive. In every photo, they looked like a couple, touching, laughing, gazing at each other with naked adoration. My legs felt disconnected from my body as I moved through the apartment, documenting everything with my phone. The kitchen had copper pots hanging from a rack. Rachel had always wanted copper pots, but I'd said they were too expensive. 2 coffee mugs sat in the sink, lipstick on one rim. The refrigerator was covered in magnets from places I'd never been, holding up takeout menus and appointment cards and a calendar. The calendar. Christ, the calendar. Her book club nights were marked with little heart stickers. Red hearts for Tuesdays, pink for Thursdays. Other dates had cryptic notations. Dee's presentation, dinner with mom and dad, anniversary. Anniversary. They had an anniversary. The master bedroom nearly brought me to my knees. A king-size bed with navy sheets. Rachel had wanted navy sheets, but I preferred gray. Matching nightstands like something from a furniture showroom. Her reading glasses on one side, the ones she'd told me she'd lost last month when I asked why she was squinting at her phone. A man's watch and wallet on the other side. The closet was split down the middle with military precision. Her clothes on the left, his on the right. Some of her clothes I recognized. The green dress she'd worn to her cousin's wedding. The blazer she'd bought for important client meetings. The shoes she'd splurged on during a girls' shopping trip. How many times had she stood in this closet, choosing what to wear for him? How many mornings had she kissed me goodbye, then driven here to change into something he'd bought her? The bathroom had 2 of everything. 2 toothbrushes in a holder shaped like a cat. 2 towels hanging on hooks. 2 bathrobes on the back of the door. Her expensive shampoo, the stuff she complained we couldn't afford, sat in the shower next to his Old Spice body wash. I found myself in the second bedroom, set up as an office. 2 desks facing opposite walls. His was covered in engineering textbooks and drafting supplies. Some kind of architect or designer, maybe. Awards on the wall for sustainable building design. Degrees from schools I recognized. This wasn't some deadbeat. This was a successful professional. Her desk was neater. Legal pads filled with her handwriting, the loopy cursive I'd fallen in love with when she'd leave me notes in law school. Case files that looked real. Was she actually practicing law? More photos in frames, but smaller, more personal. And then I saw it. On her desk, in a silver frame that matched the ones in our house. A wedding photo. Not our wedding photo. A different wedding. Rachel in a simple white sundress, not the elaborate gown she'd worn to marry me. Barefoot on a beach, flower crown instead of a veil. The man, David, according to the calendar, in khakis and a white button-down, no jacket. Both of them radiant with joy. My legs gave out. I sat hard on the office floor, staring at that photo. When? When had this happened? We'd been married 5 years, dated for 2 before that. 7 years of my life with this woman. When had she found time to have another wedding? A sound from the living room made my blood freeze. Footsteps? A key in the lock? But it was just the ice maker in the refrigerator dropping a new batch. The normal sounds of an empty apartment that wasn't empty of life, just temporarily vacant of people. I forced myself to keep searching. Be thorough. Marcus would want evidence if, when whatever was going to happen happened. In the desk drawers, I found everything. Lease agreement. Rachel Brennan and David Brennan, married couple. Dated 2 years and 3 months ago. 6 months after she'd started book club. Bank statements for a joint checking account. R&D Brennan. Regular deposits, regular bills. A life laid out in financial transactions. Utility bills, cable bills, insurance forms, and letters. Handwritten letters tied with a ribbon like something from a movie. I opened one with shaking hands. My darling wife, it began in neat masculine handwriting. Happy anniversary, 2 years of marriage and forever to go. Every day with you is an adventure. Every night in your arms is a gift. Thank you for choosing me, for building this life with me, for being the light that guides me home. All my love, always and forever, David. 2 years. They'd been married 2 years. I photographed everything. Every document, every photo, every piece of this impossible life. The lease, the bank statements, the love letters, evidence of a complete existence I'd known nothing about. On my way out, I grabbed the mail from the entry table. Bills, mostly, addressed to Mr. and Mrs. David Brennan. A subscription to Architectural Digest. A card from a dental office confirming an appointment. And a thick envelope from the county clerk's office. The return address label read, Vital Records Marriage Certificates. I didn't open it. Didn't need to. The weight of it in my hand was enough. Outside, I made it 3 steps from their door before I had to stop. Grabbed the stair railing and threw up over the side into the bushes below. Heaved until nothing was left, then dry heaved some more. A woman walking her dog gave me a wide berth, probably thinking I was drunk. If only. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, engine off, trying to make sense of what I'd seen. My wife had another husband, another home, another complete life. Not an affair. That would have been simple compared to this. This was... What was this? My phone rang. Rachel's picture filled the screen. The two of us at last year's company picnic, both grinning at the camera. I let it go to voicemail. She called again immediately. This time I answered. Hey, hun! Her voice was bright, casual. Book club's running a little late. Sarah's really getting into the discussion, and you know how she can be. Probably another hour or two. No problem. How was my voice so normal? How was I forming words? Take your time. You okay? You sound a little off. Just tired. Long day with the quarterly reports. Ah, poor baby. I'll make it up to you when I get home, okay? Maybe that thing you like? The suggestion in her voice made bile rise in my throat again. Looking forward to it. Lies came so easily. Was this how she felt all the time? Love you. Love you too. I drove home on autopilot, muscle memory navigating while my mind reeled. At a red light, I did something I'd never done before. I called information for a locksmith. I need someone immediately. Emergency call. What's the nature of the emergency, sir? Just found out my wife has another family. Need every lock changed before she gets home. Silence. Then, I'll dispatch someone immediately. Thomas can be there in 30 minutes. Make it 20 and I'll pay double. He'll be there in 20. While waiting for the locksmith, I became a machine. Grabbed boxes from the garage left over from our move 3 years ago. Started in the bedroom. Her clothes went in first, folded neatly because even in my rage I couldn't bring myself to be deliberately destructive. That would make me like her. Her jewelry box, her photos from college, the love letters I'd written her during law school, the teddy bear I'd won her at the state fair on our 3rd date. 5 years of accumulated life, sorted and boxed with mechanical efficiency. I found our wedding album in the closet, paused at a photo of her saying her vows. I promise to be faithful, she'd said, tears streaming down her face, to love only you for the rest of my days. The album went in a box. The locksmith arrived in 18 minutes. Thomas was a grizzled older man who took one look at my face and got to work without small talk. While he changed the locks, I kept packing. Bathroom stuff, her home office, the kitchen gadgets that were specifically hers. How many locks? Thomas asked. All of them. Front door, back door, garage, side door, both gates. He whistled low. Bad situation? Found out my wife has another husband, another life. Been lying for years. Thomas paused in his work. Brother, I've been doing this for 30 years. Thought I'd heard everything. But another husband? That's a new one. Yeah, it's a new one for me too. You pressing charges? Haven't decided yet. That was a lie. I decided the moment I saw that wedding photo. Rachel was going to face consequences. Real, legal consequences. Thomas finished in 45 minutes, handed me a ring of shiny new keys. These are your only copies. You want me to make extras? Not yet. You gonna be okay, brother? Eventually. He clapped me on the shoulder and left. I dragged the boxes out to the side lawn, stacking them neatly like some kind of suburban refugee camp. 15 boxes of Rachel's life, waiting for her in the growing darkness. Then I went inside, poured myself 3 fingers of the good scotch, and sat in my recliner facing the front door. Our wedding album sat in my lap, turned to a random page. Us cutting the cake, her shoving a piece in my face while I laughed. 300 guests applauding our love. I wondered how many of them had known. Her sister, her parents, the friends who'd stood as bridesmaids? Or was everyone as fooled as I'd been? At 9:47, she texted, "Heading home. Sarah says hi." Sarah. Was there even a Sarah? Or was that code for David? Had I ever actually met Sarah, or had that been someone hired to play a role at that Christmas party? I pulled up the lease agreement photo on my phone, stared at David's signature next to hers. David Michael Brennan. Real name? Fake name? Did it matter? At 10:23, I heard her car in the driveway. The familiar sound of her engine cutting off. Her door slamming. She always slammed it too hard. Her heels on the walkway, that distinctive click, click, click I'd heard 1,000 times. The key in the lock. Turning. Not catching. Turning again. Rattling. What the hell? Her voice muffled through the door. More rattling. Then knocking. Alan? Honey? My key's not working! I took a sip of scotch. The wedding album fell open to our first dance. At Last, by Etta James. Her mother had cried, "Alan, are you home? Something's wrong with the lock!" Her phone started ringing. My name would be on her screen. I declined the call. She tried the back door. I tracked her progress by the sounds, footsteps on the gravel path, the gate squeaking, rattling at the back door. Muffled cursing when that key didn't work either. The garage door. More rattling. More cursing. Louder now. Alan! She was back at the front door, pounding now. Let me in! What's going on? My phone lit up with texts. What's happening? Why won't my key work? Are you home? This isn't funny. Answer me! Alan, please! What did you do to the locks? I selected the photo of the lease agreement, the one that said, Rachel Brennan and David Brennan, married couple. Typed a message. Your other husband can deal with you now. Locks are changed. Your stuff is on the lawn. Send. The pounding stopped. For maybe 10 seconds, everything was quiet. Then her scream of rage shattered the suburban peace. Alan, open this door right now. I can explain. I finished my scotch. She'd found the boxes. I could hear her sobbing, ripping them open. You can't do this. This is my house, too. I live here. I walked to the window, staying back in the shadows where she couldn't see me. She was on her knees in the grass, pawing through a box of her clothes. Her neat book club outfit was disheveled. Her carefully curled hair was wild. Mascara streaked her face. Please. She was looking at all the windows now, trying to spot me. Let me explain. It's not what you think. Not what I think? What else could it be? A hilarious misunderstanding? A case of mistaken identity? My twin brother I didn't know about? I texted. From your apartment, with your other husband, using your keys. Her phone lit up her face as she read it. The look that crossed her features, shock, fear, realization, was almost worth everything. How did you... Alan, please! We need to talk! Talk to David. You don't understand. I never meant for this to happen. Never meant to marry two people? I made a mistake. People make mistakes. A mistake. Like she'd accidentally wandered into a courthouse, accidentally said, I do, accidentally signed a marriage certificate, accidentally lived a complete double life for 2 years. Headlights swept across the lawn. A pickup truck pulled up behind Rachel's car. A man got out, tall, athletic build, dark hair with that touch of gray. David Brennan in the flesh. Rach? What's going on? He jogged over to her, saw her crying by the boxes. Babe, what happened? Babe. He called my wife babe. I couldn't resist. I opened the front window. Perfect timing. David, right? The other husband, great to finally meet you. He looked up, confused. Who are you? What's happening here? Rachel grabbed his arm. David, we need to go. I'm Alan Foster. The first husband, the legal one, technically. I held up our wedding album. Married 5 years, together for 7, and you are? The color drained from David's face like someone had pulled a plug. He looked at Rachel, then back at me, then at Rachel again. That's impossible. Rachel said her ex was... Ex? I laughed. It came out slightly unhinged. Check her purse, David. Go on. Look at the credit cards. The ID. See what name is on them. Rachel tried to pull him away. We need to leave. Now. But David was already reaching for her purse, pulling out her wallet. Rachel Foster. His voice was flat. Who's Rachel Foster? That would be my wife. Your wife is Rachel Brennan. Different license, same person. She's quite the multitasker. David staggered back like I'd hit him. You're married? You're still married to someone else? David, I can explain. Explain! He threw the wallet on the ground. Explain how you're married to another man? Explain how our entire life is a lie. The neighbors were starting to come out. Porch lights flicking on up and down the street. Mr. Henderson from next door was checking his mail at 11 p.m. Mrs. Chen across the street was walking her dog in her bathrobe. Hey, David, I called out, warming to my role. Quick question. Does she have book club on Tuesdays and Thursdays? He went very still. Her pottery class. There it is, no book club, no pottery. Just bouncing between husbands like some kind of relationship timeshare. This is insane. David was running his hands through his hair, pacing in tight circles. We have an apartment. We have a life together. We're married. About that. I held up my phone, showing the photo I'd taken of their wedding picture. Nice beach wedding, by the way. Very romantic. When was that exactly? 2 years ago, June 15th. Interesting. See, she was already married to me then. Been married for 3 years at that point, which makes your marriage invalid. His voice was hollow. It's not legal. Bingo! You're not her husband. You're her boyfriend. Her side piece with a fancy title. Rachel was sobbing harder now. I love you both. Love? David and I shouted in perfect unison. We looked at each other, united for a moment in our rage. You don't lie to people you love, David continued. You don't marry them when you're already married. You don't... He stopped, a horrible realization crossing his face. Your parents. Do your parents know? Rachel's silence was answer enough. They know. Your parents know you're married to someone else, and they came to our wedding. They played along. Your father walked you down the aisle knowing you were already married. Check her driver's license, I suggested helpfully. She has 2. Foster and Brennan. Fraud on top of bigamy. David was frantically searching through his phone now. Our accounts, our lease, everything has both our names. All fraudulent. She was already Mrs. Foster when she became Mrs. Brennan. Congratulations, you're an unwitting accomplice to identity fraud. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. Someone had called the cops. Probably Henderson. The man lived for neighborhood drama. 2 police cruisers pulled up, lights flashing. 4 officers got out, hands resting on their holsters. What's the situation here? I stepped out onto the front porch, hands visible and empty. Officers, I'm Alan Foster, the homeowner. We have a case of bigamy and fraud. Sir, please stay where you are. My wife, that woman there, has been married to both of us. I have extensive evidence. The lead officer, a woman with sergeant stripes, looked between the 3 of us. Rachel crying by her scattered belongings, David pacing like a caged animal, me probably looking like a madman on my porch. Ma'am, can you explain what's happening here? Rachel couldn't speak through the sobs. I just discovered my wife has another husband, I said, holding up my phone. I have photos of both marriage certificates, both driver's licenses, the lease where she and this man are listed as a married couple. She's been living a double life for over 2 years. Email those to me. The sergeant handed me her card. Ma'am, I need you to answer. Are you legally married to both these men? Rachel's sob caught in her throat. For a long moment, the only sound was the police radio chatter and distant traffic. Finally, barely a whisper. Yes. That's admission of bigamy, one of the other officers said. That's a Class C felony in this state. David exploded. Arrest her! She's a criminal! She destroyed my life! Sir, I need you to calm down. Calm down. I just found out my wife has another husband. That our marriage is fake. 2 years of my life are a lie. 5 years here, I added. 7 if you count dating. David and I looked at each other across the chaos. 2 fools who'd loved the same liar. The sergeant was on her radio calling for additional units. We're going to need everyone to come to the station. This is now a criminal investigation. Am I under arrest? Rachel finally managed to speak. Not yet, ma'am. But you need to come with us for questioning, and I strongly suggest you contact a lawyer. They separated us for transport. I rode in one cruiser, David in another, Rachel in a third. As we pulled away, I saw Mrs. Chen taking photos with her phone. By morning, this would be all over the neighborhood Facebook group. The police station was a blur of fluorescent lights and uncomfortable chairs. They took our statements separately. I handed over everything, photos, documents, the works. Explained about the insurance call, the 2 licenses, finding the keys, the apartment. How long have you been married? The detective asked. 5 years. Dated for 2 before that. Any children? No, thank God. Did you have any suspicions before today? I thought about it. Really thought about it. She had book club twice a week. Sometimes work trips on weekends, late nights at the office. But I trusted her. I never thought to verify. Exactly. They kept me for 3 hours, asked the same questions different ways, had me write out a timeline of our entire relationship. When I finally emerged, dawn was breaking. David was in the parking lot, sitting on the hood of his truck, staring at nothing. You want to get a coffee? I asked. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yeah, I do. We went to the 24-hour diner on Route 9. Ordered coffee that tasted like burnt rubber and pie that had seen better days. 2 strangers bonded by the same betrayal. How? David asked, stirring sugar into his coffee. How did she pull this off? Tuesday and Thursday for you? Yeah, pottery class. He laughed bitterly. I even bought her a pottery wheel for Christmas. It's in our spare bedroom. Never been used. Monday, Wednesday, Friday for me. Book club and girls' nights. Weekends? She traveled for work, legal conferences, client meetings. She told me she visited her sick mother in Columbus. We compared notes like detectives. The business trips that were really nights with me. The sick mother who was probably healthy as a horse. The birthday parties missed, holidays juggled, lies upon lies upon lies. She made me her grandmother's lasagna last week, David said. Tuesday night. Said I was the only man she'd ever loved enough to share the family recipe. She made me that same lasagna Monday. Said the same thing. We both laughed. It was that or cry. Christmas must have been a nightmare for her, I said. How'd she manage it? My family lives in Seattle. We always flew out there for the holidays. You? We always stayed here. Her family came to us. Of course, she had it all figured out. The waitress refilled our coffee, gave us a curious look, two exhausted men in rumpled clothes, comparing notes about the same woman. What happens now? David asked. Now she faces consequences. Real jail time, probably. Good. And we figure out how to move forward. How do you move forward from this? How do you ever trust anyone again? I didn't have an answer. The sun was fully up now, streaming through the dirty diner windows. My phone had 37 missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize. The news was spreading. I need to call my lawyer, I said. Figure out the annulment process. Annulment? The marriage was fraudulent. She hid a material fact. It's grounds for annulment instead of divorce. What about mine? Yours was never legal to begin with. You can't marry someone who's already married. David put his head in his hands. 2 years. 2 years of my life just gone. Erased. Like they never happened. They happened. They just weren't what you thought they were. My parents. He looked up suddenly. Oh God, I have to tell my parents. They love her. My mom calls her the daughter she never had. That'll be a fun conversation. What about her parents? They had to know. Had to. They were at both weddings. Both weddings? David shook his head. How is that possible? How do you go to your daughter's wedding knowing she's already married? My phone rang. Marcus. Alan, what the hell happened? I just got a call from the DA's office. Something about you being a bigamy victim? Rachel's been married to 2 of us. Has a complete second life. Second home, second name, second husband. Silence. Then, I'm on my way. Don't do anything. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. I'll meet you at your house in an hour. The next few days were a blur. Rachel's parents posted her bail. $50,000. They hired her a high-powered defense attorney who immediately started spinning the story. Emotional distress. Undiagnosed mental illness. A woman who loved too much. The media picked up the story. The timeshare wife, they called her. Our quiet suburban neighborhood was suddenly full of news vans. Reporters knocked on doors looking for anyone willing to talk about the woman who'd lived 2 lives. Mr. Henderson was more than willing. Gave 3 interviews in one day, each more dramatic than the last. Rachel tried to contact me. Called from her parents' house, from unknown numbers, from her sister's phone. I blocked them all. She sent letters through her lawyer. I returned them unopened. She showed up at my office. Security escorted her out while my coworkers watched through the blinds. Marcus handled the legal side. The marriage was annulled surprisingly quickly. Turns out judges don't look kindly on bigamy. The house was mine, purchased before the marriage. The joint accounts were frozen pending the criminal investigation. David and I met regularly. Strange friendship, but who else understood? We'd sit in that same diner, comparing notes, filling in the gaps of Rachel's elaborate deception. She told me she was allergic to shellfish, he said one night, carried an EpiPen and everything. She ate lobster with me on our anniversary every year. She said she couldn't have kids, some medical condition. We were trying. She was taking fertility vitamins. Every revelation was another layer of lies peeled back. Another reminder that we'd loved someone who didn't exist. The trial was set for 6 months out. Rachel's lawyer tried to plea bargain. The DA wasn't interested. She committed systematic fraud over multiple years. This wasn't a moment of passion. This was calculated deception. I had to testify. So did David. So did the insurance agent who discovered the whole thing. Jennifer from State Farm became an unlikely hero, the woman whose routine check had exposed a criminal. Rachel's parents testified for the defense, claimed their daughter was suffering from a dissociative disorder, that she genuinely believed she could love two men fully, that she never meant to hurt anyone. The prosecutor destroyed them, showed emails where Rachel discussed juggling both lives, presented credit card records showing how she'd carefully managed separate finances, introduced the 2 driver's licenses, the 2 marriage certificates, the lease agreements. This wasn't mental illness, the prosecutor said in closing. This was deliberate, calculated fraud. The defendant knew exactly what she was doing. She just thought she'd never get caught. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, guilty on all charges, bigamy, fraud, falsifying government documents. Rachel broke down when they read the verdict. Her parents sobbed. Her sister had to be escorted out for screaming at the jury. The sentencing was 2 weeks later. The judge wasn't sympathetic. Mrs. Foster or Brennan or whatever you're calling yourself today, you've shown a callous disregard for the truth, for the law, and for the 2 men who loved you. You've destroyed 2 families, violated numerous laws, and shown 0 genuine remorse. You're only sorry you got caught. 18 months in state prison. 3 years probation. Felony on her record forever. They led her away in handcuffs. Orange jumpsuit replacing the designer clothes she'd bought with money from 2 households. Her parents' money had bought her a good lawyer, but it couldn't buy her freedom. David and I watched from the gallery. When it was over, we went to our usual diner. Feel better? He asked. No. You? No, but it's something. It's justice. Is it? 18 months for 7 years of lies? Better than nothing. We sat in silence for a while. The diner was mostly empty, just us and a few truckers grabbing early dinners. I'm selling the apartment, David said suddenly. Can't live there anymore. Every corner has a memory that's a lie. I redecorated, painted every room, bought new furniture, it helps. Does it? Not really. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Rachel's sister. She's sorry, she really did love you both. I showed it to David. He grabbed my phone and typed back, Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't deceive. Love doesn't commit felonies. Tell her we hope she uses her time in prison to figure out what love actually means. He hit send before I could stop him. Too harsh, he asked. No, just right. A year passed. Rachel served her time quietly. Model prisoner, according to Marcus, who kept tabs through his connections. Took classes, worked in the library, probably organizing books by the fake authors she'd created in her head. I started dating again. Slowly, carefully. First woman I went out with, I did a background check. Found nothing concerning, but told her about it on our 3rd date. I Googled you too, she admitted. Read about your ex-wife, the whole bigamy thing. Can't blame you for being careful. Doesn't bother you? That you were lied to? That's not your fault. That you're being cautious now? That's just smart. We lasted 6 months. Ended amicably. She wasn't ready for my level of trust issues, and I wasn't ready to let them go. David got engaged, met a woman through his architecture firm, told her everything on their first date. She thought I was joking, he told me over beers. Had to show her the news articles before she believed me. And she still went out with you again? Said anyone who'd been through that and came out the other side was worth knowing better. Smart woman. I'm getting married in June. He paused. Real married, legal married, single identity married. Congratulations. Will you come? To your wedding? That's weird, I know. But you're the only person who really understands. And I want someone there who'll know why I'm triple checking the marriage license. I went to the wedding. Small ceremony in his parents' backyard in Seattle. His bride was lovely, warm, funny, clearly adored him. During the vows, she made a joke about being his one and only wife that made everyone laugh. David caught my eye. We both smiled. Rachel got out after serving 14 months. Early release for good behavior. Moved back in with her parents. Got a job at a clothing store. Her law license was suspended pending review. Kept a low profile. I ran into her once, at a grocery store of all places. 2 years after everything exploded. I was buying frozen pizza and beer. The eternal bachelor's dinner. She was in the produce section examining avocados. She saw me first. Froze like a deer in headlights. I could have turned around, left my cart, walked out. Instead, I walked right up to her. Alan. Her voice was smaller than I remembered. Rachel. She'd aged, lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. Hair shorter, darker, no more expensive highlights. Regular clothes instead of designer outfits. How are you? She asked, then winced at the banality of it. Fine. You? I'm in therapy. Intensive therapy. Trying to understand why I did what I did. Figured out yet? No, maybe. It's complicated. It always was with you. She flinched. I know you hate me. I don't hate you. I nothing you. You're just someone I used to know. Someone who never really existed. I existed. The feelings were real. I did love. Don't. I held up a hand. Don't tell me you loved me. People don't do what you did to people they love. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Okay. Okay? Yeah, okay. You're sorry. Doesn't change anything, but okay. I started to walk away. Alan? She called after me. Is he okay? He's married. Really married. To one person? Imagine that. I left her standing there with her avocados and her regrets. The house sold last month. Too many memories, even with the new paint and furniture. Found a nice condo downtown, closer to work. Fresh start in a place where Rachel had never been. While packing, I found the keys. Still had them. Her apartment keys that had started everything. Thought about throwing them away. Instead, I had them framed with the fake driver's license and the insurance quote that had revealed it all. Hung it in my home office. People ask about it sometimes. The keys and ID in the shadow box frame. I tell them the story. Watch their faces go from confusion to shock to horror. That's insane, they always say. That's bigamy, I correct. And that's why you always verify everything. Trust but verify. Reagan was right. You really did a background check on your girlfriend? 3 girlfriends so far. They all understood. Isn't that paranoid? Is it paranoid if it actually happened once? David and his wife had a baby last month. Sent me a photo. Beautiful little girl with his dark hair. First child with my only wife, the message read. I sent back, congratulations. Make sure she only has 1 birth certificate. Already checked. Trust but verify, right? Right. Life moves on. The sharp edges of betrayal get worn down by time, like beach glass. You learn to trust again, slowly, carefully, with verification at every step. You tell the story less often. Think about it less frequently. The woman who was your wife becomes a cautionary tale, a chapter in your history, a reminder to look closer. But sometimes, late at night, I still wonder, how many other Rachels are out there? How many people living double lives, juggling multiple identities, lying to everyone who loves them? How many insurance quotes reveal the truth by accident? The Foster Brennan method. That's what I call it now when I give advice to friends. When they're dating someone new, getting serious, thinking about marriage. Do the Foster Brennan check, I tell them. Verify the driver's license. Check for unusual keys. Pay attention to the schedule, and for God's sake, actually meet their book club friends. They laugh, thinking I'm joking. I'm not. Trust but verify. In love, in life, in everything. Because somewhere out there, there's another Rachel, another David, another me, living in blissful ignorance until a routine phone call changes everything. The keys still hang in my office. Sometimes I look at them and remember that Tuesday morning when Jennifer from State Farm called about bundled insurance rates. Such a normal day until it wasn't. Such a normal life until I discovered it was only half of my wife's story. But I got the house. I got my freedom. I got a story nobody believes until I show them the news articles. And David? David got a real marriage and a beautiful daughter, and the knowledge that his wife has only one name, one life, one husband. We both got closure, even if it came in the form of an orange jumpsuit and a felony conviction. The Foster Brennan method: always check, always verify. Never assume that the person you love is only yours. And if you find extra keys, follow them. You might not like where they lead, but at least you'll know the truth. The truth might destroy your life, but lies will destroy your soul. I choose truth, every time, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts, because that's what real love looks like: ugly truth instead of beautiful lies. And that's the end of my story. The story of how I discovered my wife's double life, brought her to justice, and learned to live again. Trust but verify, friends. Trust but verify.